How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Shower Thoughts podcast. My name is Brennan Renier. With me is my co-host Ethan Chang
What's up? What's up?
and Anthony Chan.
Hey, how's it going, y'all? We're
So
back
this
at
is
it.
this is our first virtual recording. I guess we're not all at Anthony's apartment for the first time. I definitely miss it. I miss the crib. But
Me too.
school calls.
Yeah. So speaking of which, this was our second week, or for us, Brennan and I's our second week of school. So, how's your second week been, Brennan?
Classes wise, I've gotten pretty used to online
Yeah.
classes at this point, so not too bad. Um, the only like downside, I guess, to being here at campus is that my roommate and I are spending like 23 and a half hours a day, like in our dorm room.
Yeah.
You got like a few minutes here and there to go in like to the dining hall and pick up food and stuff. But I'm in Massachusetts, and right now we're like code yellow,
Mm.
which just basically means like you can't have other people in your dorm room. You can't you know be in large gatherings. Everything is takeout. So that definitely kind of sucks.
Are there people living off campus in apartments or no?
Yeah, there's still some people off campus. I think in total it's like uh, a little over half maybe of the student body is back at campus. Um,
Yeah.
so
So,
there's
what,
definitely not like I thought it was gonna be more
yeah.
back,
So, what
but
percentage of the classes are in person then?
um, so far all of my classes are online except one is in person once a week.
Mm.
And I went to that in person meeting last week, and it was I don't know, it was so nice. I guess I was taking in-person classes for granted last year because
For real.
it just flew by. The professor is just so much easier to follow and pay attention. I don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
think.
really fun too.
Yeah. I think
Hmm.
just being able to like talk to, or I don't know about your guys' classes, but like just being able to talk to people in my classes without having to like talk in front of everyone is like something that that I want to have back really badly. Cause now I'm like, now one, I don't know anyone in my classes. And two, like, like if I have to like talk to somebody, I either have to like email them or it's gonna be like super awkward and then I'll never be able to meet them in person either. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
how's Kansas compare to Illinois State?
well, it isn't bummy like Illinois State. Um, yeah, it's a lot
Fair.
better for sure. I think the professors are definitely more like professional in terms of like online teaching. Like Illinois State, out of my 11 classes or so that I have had over the past 2 semesters, only one of them had a Zoom meeting, like an in-person Zoom meeting.
Hmm.
So that ratio was terrible and I suck at asynchronous. But like here, it's like 50-50, 60-40-ish. So that's been really nice. And plus, like, I don't have to use that shitty website from Illinois State anymore.
What
That
was it
I
What's
don't
the
know.
called?
shitty
Greg or
website?
something?
It's like ReggieNet because that's the name of the
Reggie.
that's the name of the mascot. But that shitty website was you. If you guys had me on Snapchat, you guys probably saw I've ranted about that shitty website several times. But I'm glad, I'm blessed. Love Blackboard.
You guys use Whiteboard? Yeah, we use I think Moodle,
Mm.
but they just started integrating Canvas like last year.
Oh, so y'all
Ah,
were talking about like homework websites and like okay, because I've never heard of like those websites that y'all are using. I'm using
yeah,
fucking Sakai. Yeah,
Sakai.
it sounds
Why are
goofy.
there like a million different websites for this one thing, and like every school picks a different one for like no reason?
I know. I think they have like a contract agreement with them or something, and then like,
It's
well,
the
actually,
old Pepsi Coca-Cola thing.
probably. I have no idea, but like there's definitely ones that are 100% superior than other ones. I'll just say that right now.
What do you mean? ReggieNet's awesome, dude.
It's
We
like, what
love
the fuck are you
ReggieNet.
guys thinking? Like, I swear to God, it was like made by toddlers or something like that. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I like Canvas. Canvas is good. Shows
Dude,
you
I think
everything you need.
Canvas is definitely A plus, and that's the worst part. We started with Canvas at high school,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
only went
True.
down. It literally only went down for
That's
me.
so true.
I'll never talk shit about Canvas ever again. Ever. It's
I
like
know,
the best website ever. Swear to God.
Anthony, you've been doing school for how many weeks now?
3 weeks. Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks, and I already had
Hmm.
like 2 tests already, which is kind of tough.
You have
But
like a positive, like a highlight, low light from school so far?
highlight. Oh, I joined a business fraternity. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, big
Getting
stuff.
involved, and also just being able to get tested for free as many
Hmm.
times as I want. Just nice knowing that I don't have COVID. So
It's a pretty good
um,
thing. It's a pretty good thing.
yeah. But as for a low light, just been really stressed. A lot of things are going on. So um, just trying to manage it as like to the best of my ability. So yeah. What about
Yeah.
y'all?
I know we've talked to you before about things that like stress you out, Anthony, like being overly worked and stuff, having a lot of things going on. Do you think
Mhm.
school like is your biggest source of stress or is it something else?
Honestly, I don't think school is that stressful. I think most of my stress just comes from overworking myself with all the projects that I'm working on, and also, like I also want to have time to like hang out with friends, and just it's a lot of it's not so much the work of school or just the time of school that is preventing me from hanging out with friends. So that kind of stresses me out. But yeah, no, it's definitely not school that's stressing me out.
Okay. Ethan, what about you?
Um, I
Biggest source
mean,
of stress right now?
um, I don't think I'm really that stressed out. I think it's more of like, yeah, I don't think I'm that stressed, and that's a good thing. That's like, I'm super blessed for that, especially during this time. I'm super blessed for that. But,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, like right now, I think I'm not that stressed whatsoever. Like, I mean, last year I was super stressed out because like it was a lot of asynchronous learning, but definitely with this change at Kansas, it's been really beneficial for me. And I think I'm doing really well in school, and I think the only stressful portion is like, I don't know, I'm just been really bored. So I mean, that's not even stressful, really. It's just I've just been bored. How about you,
Yeah.
Brennan?
I mean, well, like talking about you like last year, you said you were stressed. Do you think like part of that came from just like feeling lost almost, like you didn't know what your future was gonna be and you're stuck at like a school you didn't really like where the fuck do I go from here?
Yeah, I mean, at that point too, I didn't even know what I was majoring in. I was still kind of undecided at that point, and
Yeah.
like now that I know what I'm doing, it's really nice, and it's it's a way to motivate myself too. Finally, have like a picture in mind on what I'm working towards, and like have a reason why I'm like in those classes. When like prior to that, I just felt like I was mindlessly working at something that towards like I don't even know what I was working towards. And it just felt like
Hmm.
I was just wasting my time in these classes that are completely irrelevant to what I'd be doing in the future.
Yeah, I guess thinking about like my own stress, I'd probably like um I don't know, group it into like a few different categories.
Mm,
Like there's like that existential stress that doesn't really have like an obvious cause. I just like feel stressed, about the future, kind of like what you're saying about having like uncertainties in the future. Will this play out this way? The way I want it to. What am I going to be doing next year? There's a lot of like moving pieces, and when I think too much about them, I just start getting stressed over like the little details.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and then I think my main source of stress, like at school, is not necessarily like from anything like that the school is doing. It's mostly like, I'm a procrastinator, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and when I'm like procrastinating and like I know I'm procrastinating, like I'm aware of it, that stresses me out so much because I'll be like listening to music or doing something else that while I should be like in my mind, I think I should be doing something else like homework or a project or something. And like I'm conscious of it the whole time I'm procrastinating and it like ruins, all that time I'm spending doing other stuff because I can't stop thinking about like, oh, what I should be doing.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. Like, I 100% agree with you there. It's just your mind, like, you overthink stuff for sure. Like, everyone
Hmm.
does it, and it's terrible. And, like, by no means am I like an expert at handling stress, but especially nowadays, thinking like short term has really been beneficial. realistically, long-term goals are kind of unobtainable or really hard to picture, especially the ones regarding like jobs in the future or even like way even past that. So it's like right now I've been like thinking in the moment, like short-term goals and short-term
Hmm.
things to look forward to. Like we said, when I think about the future, it's really bad. But the only time I really think about the future is like in the shower, and then when I have nothing else to do.
Your
So like,
shower thoughts.
yeah, it's all negative shower thoughts. It's kind of terrible, but
Mm.
uh,
You know, I think a lot of kids deal with that same stress of like, oh, like what am I gonna do in the future? And I don't think anybody really has it figured out. Like, oh, like I'm definitely gonna do that in the future because like anything can happen. And I even talked to my mentor about this. I was like, bro, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my finance degree. And then he's like, you know, I don't think a lot of people know what they're gonna do after college. So you just gotta focus on the present. Thinking about the future is definitely a big source of stress for me.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
you have such lofty goals, right? Like
mhm.
it's hard not to get stressed about achieving those or failing those goals.
yeah, especially when I so like when first starting like a project, it's like, oh, I'm gonna easily grow this, right? Or like I'm easily gonna reach like the next 100 subscribers or something. But whenever I don't see that success like happen right away, it's like it's really discouraging.
Mm.
But it's a grind. So like you just gotta understand like, or I have to understand that like with hard work the price will come like no matter what. So
Yeah, I think that exactly what you said. Like it's a grind and you can't really expect results overnight. And just having realistic goals set, just like baby steps. Like, for example, this podcast, like sure, I'm pretty sure we'd all love for it to blow up or something like that, but that's unrealistic and it's not reasonable to get stressed over that. But instead, like setting like little goals that we like, or I have like little goals in mind about the podcast, like realistic little goals, like reaching like 300, 500 streams or 500 individual listeners. Just knowing that we're working towards it and seeing like progress towards those smaller goals makes it more like the bigger goals seem much more closer and much more reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do personally to sort of negate some of that stress, right, is I make lists of like, it's like a checklist of things that I want to get done in a day.
Mm,
Um, because usually my mind has this bad habit of, breaking things into black and white, like failure or success. And like if I don't do something in a day that maybe I wanted to, then you're like, oh, you're a failure. But I also don't think I like celebrate the little victories enough. Like I dwell
mm-hmm.
a lot on the failures or things like the shortcomings, and I kind of gloss over the things I do correctly, the things that I'm proud of. So
Yeah.
like when I make a checklist and I can check things off, like, oh, I sent that email today that I wanted to. I did that homework, or I recorded that podcast today. Like I can see it. I'll be like, hey, nice job. I'm actually getting shit done.
Yeah, I think that's it's really dope. I would kind of wish I did that. Like, or I'm starting to do that kind of. Like this
Hmm.
whiteboard behind me is like a checklist for all my homework, and I've like never really used like assignment notebooks or anything like that. Just kind of just did off the fly. But yeah, like for sure, checklists have really helped, and it makes you like more motivated to like keep it going because you can't just start and not finish, you know.
Yeah.
And same thing with I think everyone experiences that same thing where when you don't like failure feels way worse than success, and that applies to a lot of things like whether it be like homework like school and homework like whenever you do get a bad grade like on a test it feels so much worse than getting like a pretty good grade on a test. It just feels like way, or at least that's for me, like it just feels so much more painful than pleasurable.
What do you think about competition? Like, how do you
Mm.
handle competition? Is it
So
is it like a source of stress for you or what?
I think it's pretty interesting because it's funny because I'm one of my classes we talked about like growth mindsets and like set
First, like,
mindsets.
yeah, set or fixed mindsets. Yeah.
Yeah, fixed. That's what it is. My bad. Yeah, it's like I think that you could use competition as a form of to enhance a growth mindset. So like
What does that mean, by the way? Like, what do they
taking
say is the difference
losses,
between
you
a
could like
growth
take a
mindset?
loss
Yeah.
and like use it and see like, oh, so this is what I did wrong. And now I know what I could improve on. And then I could use this loss to like make myself a better player, student, whatever.
Yeah.
So like people could turn negatives into positives. Like
Yeah,
in terms of
I've
competition.
heard
Yeah.
people say that about like stress too. It's like a little bit of stress is good for you, right? Helps you
True.
grow. Just because like when you're faced with a little tension and you like bounce back from it, that's helps you overcome failures or stress in the future, not like break down the next time you run into it.
Hmm. For sure. For
I
sure.
think I have the bad habit in competition, especially of just like because I'm very competitive, at sports and stuff. So it's almost better for me to just avoid it completely than like risk, losing. Whereas, I probably should just face like that head on, right? But I kind of run away from it.
Yeah, I definitely similar situation with me. Even like video games. Like right now I'm sitting at like a 70% win rate in like ranked for League of Legends. And just I'm scared to click the play button because I'm
Yeah, yeah.
scared that 70% is going to drop towards the 60 and I want to keep it at 70. So I was like, I'd rather not play at all just to maintain the 70. Like I get
Yeah.
nervous too. Like I'm nervous when I'm playing. I'm like, I could lose 70 right now. I'm like so scared I'm going to lose 70.
I'm the same way with video games. For Smash Bros, whenever I play as elite Smash character, it's like I never want to play as them because I know I'm gonna lose a few games and then lose like a ton of points, which like
Hmm.
it's like based off like the rankings are based off of the amount of points you have. But yeah, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna lose the character being in elite Smash, so I just avoid them completely.
Yeah, that's what sucks about getting so good at something, right? Because when you're not good, when you're bad at something, you have no stress over
So
winning or
true.
losing. You just enjoy it for what it is. But the
Yeah.
second you start like taking it competitively and you have like a reputation, and some pride to like uphold, then your ego just takes a hit every time you lose.
But then every time you win, it's like one of the most satisfying things ever. It's like,
It
yes, let's
can be.
go.
It can also just be like a relief. You might not even be like celebrating.
Yes.
It's just like, oh,
True.
that's what should have
Yeah.
happened. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Exactly. It's like March Madness. That's how I think about it. It's like
Hmm.
if you're like the one seed
The
going
one seed,
against
yeah.
yeah, if you're like the one seed going against like the bottom seed,
Hmm.
sure, like the loss is definitely gonna hurt like so much more than the win. Like you just beat the bottom seed. Congrats. Nice job, buddy. Like
Yeah,
no
just
one
ask
cares.
Virginia. I bet they didn't,
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's like it's exactly what you said. Once you get good at something, you can't really take it for fun anymore. It's no longer just a for fun activity, I guess. It's
Hmm.
but but if you have the mindset that you're never good. I think that's a big thing. Like I listen to different podcasts, like I listen to JJ Redick, the NBA players podcast, and he talked to Markel Fultz about this. And he said that if you have the mindset that if you're not the greatest, if you have the permanent mindset that you're like still that bad player or whatever, and it's still fun, like
Yeah.
then you can continuously grow. Even if you're good already, you can just continuously grow. I wish I had that mindset. I really wish. I just feel like
Yeah. Do
there's
you just
so
have to
much
like
at
psych
stake.
yourself out or something? Like how do you reach that point and not, I don't know.
Yeah, just
That
have
seems like
like
impossible almost.
I know, just feel like he's like just pretend like you have nothing to lose, Go out there with
Oh
feeling
yeah, I'll
like you
just
have
do
nothing.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
didn't even think of that. Oh, okay. Thanks, JJ.
Yeah, I think a great example of that was like Smash Brothers for me. Like when I played it a while ago, like it was a party game, right? But then as soon as
Yeah.
your friends start taking it seriously and they start whooping your ass like 30 times, you're like, you know what, maybe I have to get better because I keep losing. And then it becomes a little too serious after that, and it's just not as fun, I feel like.
Yeah. I can definitely say the same for like CS:GO. I've actually had that perspective recently because, I did play it competitively for a while. And I just like, I took a break, right? And I just
Mhm.
played a few games over winter break. And like, I had a completely different mindset, Like, I was playing with some of my friends who still take it seriously and have been, continually playing since I took a break. And our mindsets were just completely different, like the opposite. When we started losing, or we lost like a really close round, they'd get super, heated, and not enjoy any of it. Meanwhile, like we lost, right? And I was still having fun. Like it was just fun to play the game.
Yeah, I think breaks, like you said, are that's a great point. That breaks like are really important.
Oh,
I think
dude, yeah. I
what
guess we could talk about burnout, but that's like a whole subject in itself, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of like keeping something that was competitive, like taking a
Hmm.
break really helps like reduce the competitiveness or like the stress that comes along with doing a sport or activity. Like one that I really when you said that, what that really clicked in my mind was when we did Convoy. That was a perfect
Yeah.
example. So like,
Can you explain what that is?
What is
yeah.
convoy?
So like, I used to play for Vortex Volleyball Club, and we were like mega try hard, and it was like 3 hour long practices, and it was just like we really wanted to win, but then when we would lose, it just felt terrible, right? And then I just stopped enjoying the sport because like we took it too seriously. But then I ended up leaving Vortex, and then
Yeah.
Brennan left Division One, his team, his volleyball club,
Which was also the same kind of situation that they took it just
and then we
competitively.
just, and then on top of that, there was Andrew Costas too, and then all
Yeah.
three of us
Just like,
joined this.
what if we just didn't? What if we just made our own team where we could just enjoy the fuck out of volleyball?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've always wanted to play with Andrew and Brennan, and then we were
Yeah.
like, let's just join the shitty team. Like, there's nothing to lose, and maybe we can enjoy the sport again. And then
Mhm.
boom, we just joined this random. We joined this like pretty shit
Very
volleyball club.
struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just,
We had a
I don't
great
know. I
coach
don't know
though.
about you, but it was like there were some low moments like that
Yeah.
when they took it seriously. Like there was one time we had to do like this cardio training day where we literally didn't play volleyball at all, but just like
Yeah.
ran around. Like that was not fun.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I guess coming from two competitive teams, right? We had to face the reality of like, oh, when you're not on a good team, you do lose games,
yes,
right? Like
yes,
we
you
had to
do.
realize that like it wasn't just gonna be sunshine and rainbows. We're gonna win our way to every championship. But like once you get over that thing, like realization of oh, we're gonna lose. Like let's not expect us to go very far, right? Lower your
Yeah,
expectations. Then I think I had a lot of fun, going to
yeah.
tournaments.
That was a dope experience. I think that was the best, or not the best, but it was definitely a lot of fun for
It's a
sure.
highlight senior year,
Yeah, it was
Can't
so
that
much
be
fun.
seen as like more negative though if you're like going into games thinking like, oh yeah, we're already gonna lose anyway, so like we're just doing this for fun. Like, can't that be more negative? Do you think?
I think it's a balance, right?
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I think that like what was really interesting for me was I've never been the best player on my team like my entire
Mm-hmm.
time playing volleyball, and this was like the first time I've ever been like the best player. Well, I'm not sure if I was the best player on the team, but I was the best player in my
A
position
position, at least, yeah.
for sure at my position, and I had to like I had to step up and kind of be a leader. Like this is like the first. Well, I wasn't really a leader. I was not the captain or anything like that, but I had to like. There were points where I had to like teach the other player or teach other players at my position how to play my position and like give them pointers and stuff like that. And normally I'm on the receiving end, so like that was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. And like
Oh yeah, from my perspective, you're definitely a leader, like on our team. I think we're playing with some younger players on our
mhm.
team, and they would like ask us for like advice or tips or stuff like that.
Yeah, and like although we did not win at tournaments, well, we did not. Well, we won some games, I'm pretty sure, but it
Yeah,
was it was definitely fun playing. Like going to practice and like expecting to be the best, and then just like completely dumpstering other people. Like it
yeah.
was definitely an ego check. It was definitely an ego stroker for sure.
like for me, for basketball during AAU, I played on a lot of really bad teams, and
Mm,
like looking back at it at the time, like it was so annoying just knowing that we are gonna go into tournaments, like knowing that we are gonna lose and get destroyed by all these like other AAU teams. And then for all the teams that were actually like pretty good that I played on, it was way more fun than those other teams. So I don't know. I guess it's all about like your mindset. It's like how important is like winning to you.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
I agree with you. So like I for sure thought that I have the same mindset. Like if I have the expectation that I'm gonna lose, why am I even going to the tournament in the first place? That was kind of like how I felt at the beginning. Because I don't know if you remember, Brennan, but I kind of was like pissed. Like at the beginning, I was like these like our teammates kind of suck. And I was like
Yeah,
mad because like none of our teammates could pass. And as a setter, you kind of need them to be able to pass the ball to you in order to
yeah,
set the
yeah.
ball. And I was just getting kind of pissed off at that. But then like I had the realization that like when I was at like on a good team, like a Vortex was not by no means like a great team, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we were pretty good. And like when we lose to those shitty teams, we felt awful. And then those teams that have the upset look like they just like it was the best day of their fucking life. And then
Yeah.
like I just realized at some point maybe I could reverse the role and we're like the shitty team and we're constantly the underdog and like we could have that like miracle on ice moment when we win. Like every time we won, it felt like a miracle on ice moment. So being win deprived actually had its benefit because when you did win, it just felt. I think the wins on Convoy definitely felt more amazing than the wins on Vortex because it just felt like
Yeah, they definitely felt more earned at least.
yeah, and it felt like you were because I kind of had like that mentoring position, and it felt like that I kind of like taught these guys or like helped get
Mhm.
these guys to this position that we would have not won at the beginning of the season, but now we like bonded together and we finally won. It felt like a movie every time we won. Then on Vortex, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, we should have won that game.
Yeah, I think when you're on like a really good team, right? It's like usually you're happy for yourself when you win. But like on Convoy, when like people just step up out of nowhere, and you guys like win, you feel good for everyone on the team,
Yeah.
especially if you like help them get there. I think Anthony does have a good point though, because just thinking back to last year when I was playing for the Holy Cross men's volleyball team, like we were actually good. It's probably like maybe one of the best teams like I've played on. Besides maybe the new cheer team,
Mhm.
and it felt really good to win. But we also had like kind of a relaxed air to, relaxed atmosphere to our team. Um, so it was kind of like the best of both worlds, I felt like.
So, do you think the perfect storm is like still competitive, like when you need to be, but then like in the practice, you're like chill and relaxed? Is that like the perfect environment to you?
Yeah. Anthony, I don't know, is basketball this way, but I feel like for volleyball at least, practices could either be like just hell
Hmm.
or like super chill. Like for some reason, some volleyball coaches just love cardio for like no real reason. And you don't really need cardio that much for volleyball.
Yeah.
You're kind of standing in one place for
Yeah, I
most of
mean,
the time.
um,
Like, do you hate practices?
yeah. For basketball, like there was definitely like chill practices where we just run scrimmages, 5-on-5s. So like those were considered chill, but they were still really competitive, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
we were always still like trying to win. And then like when we would lose, it'd be like really annoying.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then for both of you. Like, if you're scrimmaging a team, do you like rather be the better team that you're scrimmaging? Like you're the better team and you're scrimmaging that worse team, but then it's like relaxed, and you're like having a good time? Or would you rather be like the lesser team and like you are more competitive because you want to win and like it's way more serious because you feel like you have to win because you're the worst team?
I mean, I'd rather be on the team where I'm the best player, I'm the leader. But I'd much rather be on a team that wants to actually win and compete. I don't really know which team that would be like out of the two choices that you gave. But I mean it's
Or
kind of a mix.
yeah, I mean, like, if you're scrimmaging, would you rather be on like, so like for us, like, the example I'm thinking of is like, for us at Convoy, we had to like scrimmage like the 16-year-old
The
team,
younger
even though we're,
teams, yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was
like,
thinking of.
yeah, like we're 18-year-olds, and then but like those 16-year-olds kind of sucked, but then it
Hmm.
was kind of fun because like we got to just joke around and not take it seriously.
You can
Uh,
But
try
then
new
to the
stuff.
six, huh? Yeah,
You
yeah, we
can
could
try
try
new
new
stuff.
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, and not really take it seriously. But then for like the 16-year-olds, from their perspective, they're like, oh, we're playing the almighty 18-year-olds. Oh my God, like we have to try our hardest. And then the coach is like yelling at them. Which one
you
would
know,
you?
I would much rather be on the 16-year-old team.
Mm,
Um,
I know
Brennan?
last year at Holy Cross, we scrimmaged some teams like we scrimmaged one, I forget what college it was, but they were like about the same like skill level as us. And I think that might be the best kind of scrimmage is when you're on the
Yeah,
even playing field. And it really feels like, this could be a game. Neither team has an excuse, right? It's like, oh, the 18-year-olds could say, oh, we're just fucking around. We're trying new things, if they lose. 16-year-olds can say, oh, well, they're clearly better. But if both teams are like the same or around the same skill level, then it's like, whoever wins this gets like bragging rights being better team.
yeah, that's 100% true. So
I
like
think,
going back. What about going back to Anthony's like example?
Mhm.
Would you rather be the best player on a lesser team, or would you rather be the worst player on a good team?
Like, that's the thing about team sports, right? It's like, are you just somebody who likes to be, carried along and, win as a team, or do you like really value those personal victories of being like a good player?
Yeah, I think it's just more fun being in control and just being like, hey, we're gonna run this play, and then they all listen to you. It just, yeah, just more fun to be in control. But then when you're a role player on a better team, I just feel like I'm doing just less work, and I feel like I'm not as significant to the team. Like whenever the team wins, it's like, oh, I didn't really do much. Like even though role players are very important.
Yeah, I think that 100% makes sense. It's like when you win, you feel like you have a higher share for that win. Like you feel like you're more responsible for that win. Like I'm the reason why we won. Like if you're the best player on a lesser team, you feel like I'm the reason that we won. Like that was mostly me. But that if you're like a role player, you're kind of like you don't feel like you really earned it. Well, you could like maybe if you had a good game, you could feel like you earned it, or if it was like a close game and you barely won and you played well, then you could feel like you earned it. But like yeah, when you win on if you have like a higher responsibility for the win. But I think I would be I want to start my career on the worst like lesser player on a good team, learn from them, and then like branch out to a lesser team and then be the best player on that lesser team. That's like the goal. And I remember like going back to what we were saying earlier about like us scrimmaging the 16-year-old team and like
Hmm.
us messing around and stuff like that. Do you remember, Brennan, what the what's it called? The handicaps that they had to put on us when we played against the 16-year-old team? Do you remember that? It was
No, what were they?
we weren't remember we were only allowed to tip?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was the dumbest thing
Yeah, we
ever.
couldn't hit.
Yeah,
So we
imagine
couldn't even
playing
practice
volleyball.
playing volleyball.
Oh my. Imagine playing volleyball, but you're not allowed to hit the volleyball.
Hmm.
That's
Like they
goofy.
made us they told us we're not allowed to hit the ball at them. It was so bad. So it's like, yeah, I agree with you guys that
You don't get anything out of that really, except for just like fun, and a little
yeah.
bit of enjoyment. Yeah,
And then to
you don't
like
get better.
yeah, and the six but I guess to the 16-year-old like, oh my god, it's happening. Like they're so good.
But I guess none of it matters because Convoy got shut down after
True.
the year after we left.
Yeah. I'm glad
We
we did it though.
single-handedly destroyed Convoy
Yeah.
volleyball.
We destroyed a franchise. We could say destroyed a
Hmm.
franchise.
Shout out Coach Rocky.
Hmm.
So for both of you guys, like, where does sports rank as like the things you miss the most during this time, like not being able to do?
During
Ethan?
COVID? Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
during COVID? Yeah. I mean, for me, it's kind of I'd never realized how much I'd miss it like until now, especially during the winter. Like now,
Mhm.
especially during the winter, I can't even like go outside. It's terrible outside. I think one, like we said earlier, there's the competitive aspect. Like there's nothing, I can't compete over anything anymore. But then it's also like the improvement aspect too. It's like I just want to like get better at something, whether it be volleyball or basketball or skateboarding or like anything really. Like even ping pong when we were playing ping pong over the summer or tennis, just not being able to like yeah, not being able to improve at it just feels terrible. And it feels like when you're I don't know about you guys, when you're not doing something for a while and then you finally like want to do it again, you're like you get inspired and you're like, oh, kind of want to like relearn this or get better at this thing. But then now that I finally get that motivation to get better at basketball or volleyball or something, now I can't
Mhm.
even do it.
Yeah, for me, like going from playing basketball every single day to just not being able to play at all, it really stinks. So like as far as rankings, I would put it at like almost the very top because like I don't know, basketball is like a huge part of my life. Like literally today when I went to go shoot around, it's like, oh dang, I really like lost all my skills because I didn't play for like 5, 6 months. So yeah, I definitely miss it a lot and I just can't wait to go back next year or next semester to play quad basketball again. So
How about you, Brennan?
Yeah, I mean volleyball, like being on a volleyball team, uh, was probably like my highlight of last year. Um, we were gonna go to nationals in Kansas City, in the spring, but obviously that got cut off. and I think there's a lot of things you lose, right? When you lose like sports, especially like team sports.
Oh yeah.
Not only like being able to play and see yourself improve and, get something out of the competition, but also like your teammates, right? Who are your friends and, people you enjoy spending that, hour or two, in the gym with, it sucks. So I definitely put it like Anthony at the near the top. Maybe even like the biggest thing that is missing from this semester where I'm on campus, but can't do any of that.
So for you guys, did you guys were you guys always practice players? Like there's guys that perform well in practice, but then do terrible in games. And then there's guys that do really well, like when in games, but then don't really show up at practice. Which one did you guys fall under?
Dude,
Dude, for club basketball,
no, you go, Anthony. All you.
Oh, it's Anthony's world now.
Take it away. Club basketball. Let's hear it.
So for club basketball, I played terrible in the tournaments and like during the games, but in practice, dude, I would like hit every single three I took. I played really well in practice, but I don't know what happened, but just during tournaments, I like bricked everything. It was so bad. So definitely a practice player for club basketball.
Is that just like the pressure of
Yeah, is it like nerves?
performing?
Dude, I don't even know what happened. I remember we went to Southern Illinois, Edwardsville for a tournament, and there I dropped like 0 points in the first two games that we played, and I was like, oh crap.
You got that Tony Snell.
Yeah, like actually I did literally
Stat
nothing for the team, and then I was like, oh man, I feel so bad because like during practice, like I was going off and stuff. But yeah.
I'm the same way. I think even more than just a practice player, I feel like I'm a tryout player.
A tryout player.
I feel like I like the best I play is at tryouts. I remember like the convoy tryout. I'm like, oh my god, I'm a god at this game. Like I'm so good at this. And the Holy Cross one too. Like I just felt so good. And then like as the season goes on, I feel like I get worse. Honestly.
Really?
What
the hell?
I
don't
think
know
just
what it
because
is.
you're playing against better competition, like you're you're playing at a higher level, I mean. So like the players around you are probably getting better like at a like a increased rate, I guess. Like you can't really measure growth, but I know like maybe the players are just growing exponentially.
Yeah, or I just put like all my effort into tryouts.
Yeah,
Play
I
the best
think
I
it's so
can.
funny that you say that. Like, because I think I kind of noticed that. Like, I feel like for you at least, I don't know, like, there's no knock on you, but I think that for us, like, you know how we said that we were kind of competitive at the beginning. We kind of wanted to win. We had high expectations for Convoy, but then as the time went by, and we were kind of like accepted our fate as being like a pretty shit team, like I think we just I went, my player skill level declined exponentially as well, I think. And as the season went by, I just put less and less effort into it
Yeah,
and just
honestly,
enjoyed it more
I
and more.
kind of feel bad for my coaches. It's like I show so much potential, and then they're just like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, we became for fun players towards the end for sure. Yeah.
So you would say the same thing, Ethan?
Oh
Practice
yeah,
over play.
I definitely peaked in practice, and that was like the problem. Like my coaches would tell me that too. Like they would give me PT, like on Vortex, they would make me start. Because I would do really well at practices. Like there were some practices where we would like beat the 18-year-old team, and because we were the 17-year-old team, and then I would like pop off. It's because like I don't know, I have like an ego in practice, and then as soon as I step on the real court, my ego disappears. Like as soon as hitting lines happen and I just see them like bouncing shit, I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna be good. So it's like for volleyball, Anthony, there's like hitting lines, which is like layup lines. Like so, like imagine dudes doing windmills, like and or their layup lines, and I'm just get demoralized. I'm like, oh fuck, bro. Like, like I would be like trying to do flashy plays during like practice because there's nothing to lose. I feel like in practice, if the play doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's just a practice. But then I never like tried those plays, or I would, if my coach would yell at me to try them, but I'd be scared to try them in fear that it would fail and I'd just embarrass myself or just get absolutely swatted by the block.
I think
Yeah.
part of it is also because like your competition during practice, but then
Mm.
when you step on like the tournament courts or yeah, it's called a court in volleyball.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when you step on like tournament courts, it's like, oh yeah, I don't really know what to expect, so I'm not gonna try out like these flashy plays. Um,
The highlight of my volleyball career was probably like we went to like the top flight tournament or whatever, and then like our like Ben Wiegand like just came back from rowing that season, and then so he like wasn't really at practices. And Ben's a god. Like Brennan knows this. Ben's like a god at volleyball, but he was just playing bad during the finals, and then he like my coach benched Ben in game 3 of the finals. And then he was like, Ethan, go in there. Like, Ben, you suck. Like he got frustrated at him. And then we won the we won the finals. Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
one time I've like ever clutched. And like I don't think I played like as good as I did at practice. And but like the fact that like I was able to clutch up felt like amazing. I just love the feeling of clutching up when the team needs you the most. It's just yeah, it's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
I wish I could do it. I really wish I could handle pressure, but I really can't. I don't think I can handle pressure.
All right. I think that wraps up for this episode. First virtual episode. More to come. Have more guests in the works, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Thank you guys for listening and catch you next time.